Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Siasa. This is a show where we discuss matters leadership and politics, and we focus on issues that are of concern to the youth. I'm your host this morning. My name is Miriam Mwende. I'm the editor-in-chief here at Pulse Kenya, and I'm so glad that you've been able to join us. Today, we are joined by a gubernatorial candidate in the upcoming election, and this guy is vying for the Nairobi County seat, a very, very heated and highly contested seat. We'll be getting to hear more from him, but from you on the other side of the camera, we have a very key question that we'd like you to answer for us and leave your comment in the comment section. Today we are asking you, what has the governor in your county been able to achieve? Some of your governors have been governor for the last 2 terms. Some have been there for 1 term, but we'd like to know, are you satisfied with how your governor has conducted the affairs of your county so far? And if you're from Nairobi, we'd really like to hear from you. As I told you, we have a person who's vying, an aspirant in the upcoming election, and they're also interested to hear how you're feeling about the governor position so far, even given the history in Nairobi. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Fwamba NC Fwamba. If you're on the campaign trail and you've been watching, you know this person. And he is a former student leader from SONU, back when it was still SONU. He's also worked in the Ministry of Devolution as advisor to the CS. He prides himself in that experience, says that he's learned a lot from it. And we'd like to know if that is what influenced his decision to vie. Welcome to the show, Fwamba.
Thank you, Miriam.
Greet the people.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Fwamba NC Fwamba, as you've been told by Miriam. I'm not new in politics, as we have been told. I was the vice chairman of SONU in the year 2003. The SONU that succeeded the Honorable Kangata and Honorable Sankok. After that, we got involved in student activism, supporting students. After that, we got into employment, private sector. Thereafter, we thought there is a bigger calling for us, and I got involved in activism, fighting against corruption. Those days, the civil society was very vibrant. If you saw some of the demonstrations that were held against corruption those years of 2006, 2007, most of them were organized by me and some of my colleagues, including the late Olu GPO, who was unfortunately killed on the 5th of March, 2009. Thereafter, I got involved into national elective politics. And before then, we were in the Kibaki 2007 campaign. So I was part of the Vijana na Kibaki campaign, who delivered the victory to the president, although some people think that it was disputed. Thereafter, I got involved in the Yes campaigns of 2010. We are the ones who ushered in the new constitution. I was the youth leader of the Yes campaign at the national level on the PNU side. We are working under Professor Peter Kagwanja. Thereafter, we got involved in these ICC debates about local trials and foreign trials, but eventually all of you know what happened. In 2013, the late Mutinda Kavemba, who was contesting on Wiper ticket as a governor candidate in this city, invited me to be his running mate, and I accepted. I ran with him. Had it been the fact that Mutinda won in 2013 and 2017 as governor of Nairobi, today I will legitimately, as a deputy governor, be taking over as the governor of Nairobi. Thereafter, we didn't win in 2013, and in 2014 I tried MP Mathare constituency. We didn't get it. But eventually, when CS Eugene Wamalo was appointed to head the docket of the Minister of Water and Irrigation, he gave me an opportunity to serve under him as an advisor. And I've worked with him so well. We got to a level of joining the Minister of Devolution, through which we had a very rich experience as far as devolution is concerned. Because under Waziri Eugene Wamalwa, you realize that devolution made a lot of progress. Remember, initially there were arguments that there were 48 governments, that 47 county governments and one national government. But now a fair argument advanced that we just one, we are one country, only that we are complementing each other. The 47 counties complement the national government. And as you know, he's been the longest serving cabinet minister in that docket. And through that is when we have exploited a very good working relationship between the national government and all the counties. Yeah. One of the most critical things that I got to experience under the Ministry of Devolution is the Kenya Devolution Support Program that has been supported by the President through the World Bank. That helped counties to advance and become more modernized. Because remember, when we were beginning devolution in 2013, people did not understand so much about devolution. But this is not a new idea. In Kenya, for example, in the past, we used to have the provincial administration. We used to have the provincial commissioners up to the district level. And we used to have people called the district commissioners, who are the chairman of the district development committees. But now, because of the 2010 constitution, we thought that it's much better to get a more objective and more fair way of sharing national resources. It is running and organizing the development of every section of the country. All right.
Thank you for that very adequate summary. I can see some comments already rolling in. Kefa K. Abongo says, go Governor Fwamba and see Fwamba, we are behind you. That's one of your supporters right there, just cheering you on.
Thank you,
and,
Kefa.
As we begin our conversation this morning, because you've given us such a deep background into the devolution idea and even from the ministerial level, let's come down to actually the county. Could you tell us what is the role of a governor? You've been in the ministry and now you're on the ground campaigning. What exactly is expected of a governor according to the constitution and according to the law?
Actually, after us having the constitution, there's no rocket science. We are not reinventing the wheel about the role of the governor. We only need to ensure that the governor follows the constitution and the law in implementing and playing his role. For example, is the main linkage between the development programs of the county and the national government. The governor is also the head of the executive of the county. So he coordinates his cabinet and ensures that they implement the laws that are passed by the county assembly. The governor is also, for example, as we talk about the gains of devolution, there's also something that has really been a big problem as far as devolution is concerned, and that's corruption. Because when people got elected,
we devolved corruption.
Yes. We created more mouths for eating public funds at the grassroots level. That's the biggest problem. So that's why we need to also look at the character and the reputation of an individual. Sometimes we confuse loving people with their ability to lead. If we want to have devolution to work, then we should look for people who are capable to lead, people who understand how devolution works. For example, in every county, we have the County Integrated Development Program, CIDPs, plans. So every county, the county governor's role is to ensure that the CIDP of that respective county is implemented to the latter. If you go outside that CIDP, you'll be messing up a lot of things. So, and the CIDPs that we have are so much based on what we have as a national program of development, Vision 2030. We also saw the Big Four agenda under President Uhuru, which is also under that Vision 2030. And our Vision 2030 is also not in isolation. It is within the international development framework that initially was under the Millennium Development Goals. But right now, from 2015 September up to 2030, we are working on the Sustainable Development Goals. Every country is supposed to work within that program. So with our devolution in place, we are supposed to work in line with that so that our country is competitive as far as the international development program is concerned. So the greatest approach, once we have the principles of the Sustainable Development Goals, starting with the eradication of poverty, it will be so easy for us to put in place programs that ensure that the ultimate goal of eradicating poverty is achieved. If you want to eliminate hunger, for example, we ensure that we eliminate corruption and make available enough food for everybody. For counties that do not practice agriculture, we can easily have them benefit from those ones that practice agriculture, but with money in exchange. Because every county will have its own capacity on the basis of their own strengths and abilities. When we get to the issue of education, for example, I believe, and so many people have said, that education is the greatest equalizer. If you give education to every child, these things are so interlinked that if the child is not hungry, they'll have good education, they'll concentrate in class, perform well in class, and eventually they'll become productive members of the society. And that will also bring equity and equitability between families. We'll not have families that are extremely rich continue being rich, and those ones who are extremely poor continue being poor. Because if you have a child from a poor family excelling in academics, there's a likelihood that will eventually grow and become a productive member of the society, despite the background of that child.
So from what I'm hearing from you, the gubernatorial seat is mostly about developing the county and ensuring that the resources of that county are utilized and facilitating that. The role of a governor is facilitating that. Let me use a very lay way of looking at it and take you back to a discussion that we had when Sonko was impeached from Nairobi. As we know and as we've come to see, the Nairobi county is very different from how a county outside the capital works. So devolution for Nairobi might be a very special case. With you vying for the Nairobi seat, what could you maybe tell us what you hope to achieve with that seat? Because already we've seen with the NMS and with all that drama that went on, how are you planning to handle such questions that may come to you?
Now, like I've said, like I've stated previously, it matters a lot on the person that we elected to lead your county. Some of the challenges that we have faced since the entrenchment of devolution in this country, for Nairobi in particular, we have had a lot of allegations of corruption, especially with the first regime. The second regime was so much bedeviled by corruption and incompetence and drama, sideshows.
A lot of sideshows.
And that's why I said it's very important that when we get to elect people, we elect them on the basis of their ability to perform or understanding of the role that they're supposed to play. The biggest mistake that was made previously was about choosing the popular candidate who was really popular, but ignoring the fact that he was not capable to run the city. So for me, I have an understanding on the basis of what I've explained that I know about devolution. I understand the role of the governor. I have the right experience. I've been in the civil society, understand the challenges ordinary citizens face. I've been in the private sector. I understand what businesses expect in this town, in this city. And I've been in government. I understand how government works. I've worked with all the 47 counties, so I understand what is expected of a county governor. Because if you put your executive together and ensure that every member of the county executive is performing his role well, and that executive member has people under him also performing well, below them other people also performing well, then you'll have a working system. Because I believe in systems thinking, what Peter Senge refers to as systems thinking, whereby everything is interlinked. You know, a government is just like a human body. If you have a problem with your finger, you will feel the pain in the whole body. So if there is corruption in a certain department of a county, then the whole county will be going down. Then if one county is stealing, like remember some of the county governors are accused of having stashed cash in their homes because they assumed we are not aware. That directly affects the other citizens and affects the whole country's performance in terms of economic growth. So if you have systems working, that right from the sweeper, the office messenger, we have people who are effective and efficient in delivery of their services. Then we will have no problem in developing the county. It will be a game changer. You have ward administrators who are giving good service to the people. You are having sub-county administrators playing their duties well. And ensuring that there's no corruption as they do their job,
yeah,
then we'll have a very good county.
All right, that's a comprehensive answer, but let me maybe bring it closer home. You're vying under the Jubilee Party, the current ruling party in Kenya, if I'm not wrong. Is that accurate? Initially,
I was in Jubilee. I had presented myself to be in Jubilee, but after wide consultations and having been mentored by CS Eugene Wamalwa, who is a patron of the Democratic Action Party, I decided to take my move to the Democratic Action Party on the 25th of March, just before the window of defecting closed. Okay. So as we stand right now, I'm the sole candidate under that party. I'm waiting for the Jubilee people to finish their nominations, then we meet ultimately. At the button. But I also believe that as me or team, we believe in the reform agenda that has been advanced by Honorable Raila Odinga since time immemorial. And having supported Jubilee and having worked under President Uhuru Kenyatta and Waziri Eugene Wamalwa, I am confident that with the wisdom of President Uhuru Kenyatta, we'll be happy to have Honorable Raila Odinga as our president. And as I've mentioned about the systems thinking, I believe that if we have a good president in the name of Raila Odinga, then it will be upon ourselves to have a responsibility as Azimio la Umoja to organize ourselves in Nairobi to present someone who is not tainted. We have had so many people presenting themselves as candidates for the same position, but if you look at their track records, their main point of competence is that they have amassed a lot of wealth. But when you talk about that wealth, it has a questionable past. They cannot explain the background of their wealth. So we do not want a situation whereby we get people who have been stealing the private sector now coming into government to think that is an opportunity for them to steal. If we have corrupt people in government, it will automatically affect our implementation of the sustainable development goals. Remember in the past I referred to the district development committees that happened under the previous regime, whereby development will only come to your corner or to your place if you are loyal to the president or loyal to a certain person. So under the structure that Azimio la Umoja has put in place under the leadership of Raila Odinga, who are very good reform credentials, we'll have a government that will work on the basis of structures. SDG 16 talks about institutions, strengthening of the institutions. And that's the same thing that is in our constitution. So under Raila Odinga, I'm very sure that we'll have institutions well strengthened. And here in Nairobi, under the Azimio la Umoja government, I'm very sure that I'm the one who will be the flag bearer. I believe that Azimio la Umoja will agree on the basis of my credentials and my background. If you look at all these other candidates who are presenting themselves, ask them where they went to school, they'll not tell you. Ask them where they have done in government or whatever they have done in this government, they'll not tell you. Ask them if they have ever fought for the citizens of this country, like in activism, where some of us have been arrested in the name of defending people's rights. They'll not tell you. They'll not talk about that. They'll only talk about, there's always this call when you ask someone, what's your background? Where do you get your money? He answers you by saying, I come from a very poor family. That's what they always say. But they'll never get to expound that they have benefited through looting public resources, either through the private sector or the government. We have seen a situation whereby someone who is earning 2 million shillings is going to a fundraising and raising 50 million in one fundraising alone. Where is that money coming from? Those are just corrupt people. We want leaders, not corrupt people, not dealers. And I'm that leader that Nairobi has been waiting for.
Before we continue with our discussion, we are going to our Facebook comments where the comments are streaming in. Remember, the question we are asking everyone on the other side of the camera is, what has the governor in your county been able to accomplish in the last 5 years? From the comments, you can see Eddie Wakangu has asked Kefa. Remember, Kefa is the one who told you, go. Eddie is asking Kefa, mbona we are behind you, mbona unadanganya mwenzako? So Eddie seems to think that Kefa is mistaken in supporting you.
I have no problem, because in this election we usually have people who will support you and those ones who oppose you. That's the whole essence of democracy. And I accept to have those ones who will oppose me, but I'm ready to have a conversation.
Yeah.
So Eddie, let's work together, Wahungu. Let's work together and achieve these dreams, because no one was born a governor of Nairobi.
Yeah.
And even before devolution, no one ever knew that he was going to be the governor of Nairobi or hold any seat.
Yeah.
So this is an open opportunity for everyone. And I'm ready. I'm presenting myself just like another person.
Yeah.
But I'm here to present my credentials as someone who is ready to serve on the basis of integrity and respect for institutions and implementation of the sustainable development goals in our own small way, so that it can reflect at the national and the international level.
Yeah.
Like if you look at Nairobi, Nairobi is a great port, a big port, a strategic port, entry port, port of entry in the region and in Africa generally. Right now we have got the African free continental trade.
Yeah.
I'm very sure that Nairobians will want to have a governor who is presentable and a governor who can be able to communicate with the other countries, other people outside the region, so that we can have business. Because if we have business well established within our county and our region, we'll grow our country and we'll grow Africa, and we'll claim our stake within the African free continental trade.
Eddie, that was for you. He's asking you to, Fwamba is asking you to consider his candidature. Peter Njuguna says, so nice. Nadia Agwele Khan says, I love how you're explaining the roles of a governor, very articulate and a true enlightener. Another supporter.
Thank you, Nadia. Thank you.
Yeah, very accurate.
Thank you, Peter Njuguna.
As we move on with our discussion, as you've touched on broadly, we can hear from you, your candidature is about developing Nairobi. It's about making sure that the county functions in the larger scheme of how Kenyans are governed. My question would be to some of the issues that are really pressing in Nairobi, for example, the Kanjo thing and hawkers and all of that drama that normally happens every evening. Even people who open their business premises, they complain of that. You've already paid for a license, you're already licensed to operate, you've met all the requirements, but now a Kanjo officer stops by your shop and demands that you give them daily 50 shillings. How do you hope to address such a thing, or how would you explain it?
I've seen that. I've witnessed that firsthand. We are experiencing some of these things because we are a product of a rotten system. People have been civilized in a wrong way. It is a corruption problem, that it comes from a certain level, then it gets devolved to a very low level. So it becomes a competition on who is stealing more than the other. That's the biggest problem that we have. It's a bad culture that some people have taken up. So I believe that if you lead by example, then people understand that that is wrong. I've seen taxi drivers also facing the same kind of challenges. That someone will want to drop a passenger at a well-designated place. But the moment he drops that passenger, 4 people get into the taxi, and then they start demanding 1,000 shillings each. This taxi guy could be working for 1,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings a day or what. Then 5 people are demanding 1,000 shillings each. So that's like 5,000 that he has to pay, or his car is impounded and his business is frustrated. About the hawkers, I believe that we have certain designated areas. We'll need to work on expanding enough space for them so that they can be able to be giving their wares to the people at their position of comfort. Once we have that space where the hawkers and the traders, let me call them the traders, and their customers can interact freely, we'll not have the necessity of them coming into the CBD to try and start fighting with the Kanjo Askaris.
Thank you very much for that answer, and we hope that some sanity will come into that sector. We see a new question has popped up. Are the young people really going to vote? This is a concern because they have lost hope in the current leaders. What are you doing to change this, or do you think they are convinced enough?
There's hope for the young people because they are also very witty, very fast. They are the ones who are going hand in hand with the modern technology. They are very well informed right now. I believe they have a big role to play in this election. In previous elections, especially those days when the civil society, we used to carry out civic education to enlighten young people on the importance of taking part in the leadership. We know very well that if you don't take part in leadership, you are part of the people who are contributing towards bad leadership. Be the one to vote the right leader so that in future you can hold him responsible. You understand in Article 10 of our Constitution, there are principles and the values of our nation. And among them is about integrity and public participation. If you are not made aware, or if you do not involve yourself in these processes, the factors or acts of public participation will have you excluded. And if you're excluded, people make decisions, make budgets that are so much funny. Okay, you've seen the budgets they make. Corruption starts from the budget making process. And the young people must participate in the budget making process so that they can also hold the people who are elected responsible. And you hold them responsible by also voting for the person that you think is right and voting out the person that you don't think will deliver what you expect. A very sufficient answer.
Kalista Swasilwa says, Fwamba NC, Fwamba is my governor. My support and those of my family are for him. Nairobi needs a leader, not dealers. Thank you, Kalistas, for that comment.
Thank you, Kalistas.
Daniel Benza, that's a difficult name, but I'll call you Daniel Ouma, says, listening from Kayole, my next governor is a wise man. Thank you for listening in, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Going back to, you had mentioned that you're now under the Azimio coalition.
Yes.
From how we've seen the devolution work, we know MCAs are a very big part of the county government because they're the ones who end up impeaching the governor. What steps have you made to ensure maybe, or to curtail that, to ensure that you're friendly with the county assembly, or at least cordial with it, so that you don't face such challenges?
I will go back to where I started. That best leadership is not about friendship. Best leadership is about good working relations coupled with following the rule of law. The biggest challenge that has caused the governors to be impeached is because of them violating the law and wanton theft of public resources. I strongly believe that working with the MCAs in respect to the adherence to the law will ensure that the county runs smoothly and well, and will not necessarily have those issues coming up. Those issues come up because MCAs are also very well enlightened people, and they're elected by the people to represent them. So if they find a governor who is misbehaving or messing up or not working according to the law, then they have a right to impeach that governor. I'm optimistic, and I believe that I have the qualities and the attitude and the right mindset to work with the MCAs in the right way so that we deliver for the county. And I do not see such kind of situations of like impeachment arising if we are following the law. And that's what we are committed to do.
And that's what we hope that all the candidates for this seat are going for. And talking of now that connection, the governor's role is also important in the national discussion. So depending on the regime that goes into the presidency, does it affect how governors will operate? Like, for example, you're on the Azimio side, and maybe the national government will be taken by the opposing side. Will that either make your work difficult, or will it present a challenge for governors?
Initially, there used to be such fears. But since we have been, since we started Devolution, we have been making progress systematically. remember, we were trying to run away from a situation whereby the president decided which side to get development and which side not to get, on the basis of dishing out handouts and freebies to people who are considered loyal and punishing those ones who are not supportive of the government. But because of the laws that we have put in place, we have structures. The structures will work regardless of who is the president and who is the governor, whether they come from different coalitions or not. But I'm so optimistic, and I strongly believe that Azimio will take Nairobi, and Azimio will take the national government in terms of the numbers that will win in the coming elections, because Raila is going to be president on the basis of the numbers. The projections are good, and by the time we get to August, so many people will have been converted to understand that this is the right direction this country needs to take. So I'm optimistic about that, and we'll work so closely. Now again, there's also the that is headed by whoever gets elected as a deputy president. He works with all governors, regardless of whether they're for the government that has won or the coalition that has lost. So devolution basically is just a national development agenda that is so structured, that is supposed to ensure equity, and that is supposed to ensure that there is no discrimination in distribution of resources. So because of that constitution and the laws that keep on being passed by Parliament, Progressive and the Senate and the National Assembly, we will not be having any problems whether we'll be having an opposition or a ruling government in power in the county.
And we hope that that will be the case. We really hope that is it. And looking to the comments, Daniel has written back and said, I'm present, please notify Fwamba. His campaigner, Danny Trejo, is listening.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Danny.
All right. Thank you so much for those points that you've given us. Would you speak into the future of devolution? Will we have this governor's seat for the long term, or might it change? Is it something we are going to reconsider in the next few years?
I believe the decision to have the governor serve 2 terms was good enough. In any case, I would want in future to have all these other positions have that term limit, because one of the challenges we are facing right now, we see people who served as governors now run for the Senate positions.
Exactly.
How are they going to oversight the new governors, and how are they going to check and ensure there's transparency, or even correct the errors of the past? Because if you look at devolution, if you look at the governors who have had bad records, they are facing cases in court. They are likely to be held responsible or to be asked to be accountable by the Senate that will be coming. What will happen if you are supposed to investigate yourself? It becomes very difficult and challenging. So people should stop this insatiable appetite for power. Come, serve your term, 2 terms, do something else, be of value to the society in a different way, as opposed to getting in a position where there is a likelihood of conflict of interest, because the Senate is supposed to oversight counties. So if we have those specific provisions that deter someone who has served as a governor from serving as a senator, it will be very practical. For the National Assembly, it can be open. But the Senate and the governor position, that needs to be addressed.
Why would you say so? What is the connection between governor and senator that makes it wrong?
Because, like I've stated, a senator is supposed to oversight a county. So if someone has served as a governor and has stolen public resources, has retired as a governor and has become a senator, how will he now look at the records that he has done, the bad things he has done in the county, if he's oversighting himself? It doesn't make sense.
And do you think then that's an issue within the political class in Kenya? Is it, as you've said, being power hungry, or is it just leaders who are taking opportunists, taking advantage of those loopholes in the law?
They are opportunists, of course. You have used the correct word. But again, it also has a lot to do with ourselves as citizens. Citizens are supposed to take part, like I stated about public participation. Citizens are supposed to take part in every conversation, in every national discourse, in every constitutional amendment. Citizens are supposed to take part. So decide on the best laws that can govern them. If they fail to do that, we'll end up being governed by a few people who understand the tricks within the law, and then the masses that remain ignorant will never get to benefit from whatever happens in the running of the government.
Very true. Thank you for that. Viewers, we continue to encourage you to post a comment telling us what the governor in your county has been able to accomplish. You could also indicate whether they've been there since 2013 or they are a one-term governor seeking re-election. Going back to our discussion, maybe you could tell us from a ministry point of view.
Yes. The
Devolution Ministry has been watching what's happening in the counties, and for us as the citizens of this nation, we've only been seeing that there are certain governors who are putting up development projects that actually end up benefiting their counties. A point in case is the governor for Makueni.
Yes.
He developed I was actually
food
very
processing. We've been there.
Exactly, and that is very, very it's a fixture and a component that will help that county. It's a strength for Makueni because they produce a lot of mangoes. Yes. So it's good for them to have such things. And for us, we take such a move by a governor to be something nice. Maybe you could tell us from a ministry point of view, is that what should be happening in all the other counties, or is that just part of
That's just part of the development programs that the counties have. But the Ministry of Devolution has engaged the counties directly in many aspects. One of the most significant level of interaction between the national government and the counties has been the Kenya Devolution Support Program that under the ministry was designed by the late Martin Anyango, whom we worked with and unfortunately passed on during the COVID period. The Kenya Devolution Support Program has been playing several purposes. One thing is to support counties. One thing is also, the other thing has been to put counties on toes, because it has been some kind of competition. Because through the Kenya Devolution Support Program, we've been appraising the counties. We see how they have performed, and they are rewarded. They are awarded the amount of money that is from World Bank through the Ministry of Devolution. On the basis of their performance. And this is done so scientifically and systematically so that there's no bias. By the time you are seeing Makueni shining or Nyandarua County under Governor Kimemia counting or being up there, is because of certain key performance indicators that are used, parameters that are used to see how their performance is. So the Kenya Devolution Support Program has been very key. Yesterday, CS Eugene Wamalwa is also acting as the Devolution Minister right now, was in Migori, together with the PS Korir, the PS for Devolution. They were looking at the projects that have been implemented by EU Ideas, one of the other programs of the Ministry of Devolution. So that's how the ministry has engaged the counties. We have engaged all the 47 of them. But interestingly, you'll only see one county or the other one shining. On the basis of the competence of the governor that you elected. You get what you choose your struggle, and you get what you bargain for. So those ones who elected Kibwana to be, Professor Kibwana to be their governor, have benefited. They have seen what he has done. Those ones who elected other incompetent fellows, they have also reaped whatever they saw. So it's up to you as a voter to ensure that you voted for the person who is going to add value to the development of your county. And if the county is developed, it's so obvious that you people as individuals also benefit as the citizens or residents of that specific county. Could you, if you don't mind, could you tell us where Nairobi falls in the Nairobi, you understand the challenges Nairobi has been going through. We have had several devolution conferences since we started. In 2014. Nairobi has never been represented at the Devolution Conference for all those years. For the years that Waziri Eugene Wamalwa has been at the Ministry of Devolution, and even ourselves, we came up with the regional development blocks. That we have, like the Lake Region Development Block, we have that has 14 counties. We have the Frontier District Development Block that has Northern Kenya counties. they have formed interlinkages between counties so that they support each other. Remember, there were issues where some rivers are said to be in certain counties and the other counties are not supposed to use. But because of these regional economic blocks, the counties have agreed on how they can engage, especially on shared resources. Nairobi, out of defiance, thought that they'll stay in isolation, which is not supposed to be the case. It is because of failed leadership that Nairobi has never been there. And if you look at the Kenya Devolution Support Program reports about their performance, the annual performance assessment, they have always been number last. Nairobi has always been number last. And that is why we thank the president for the intervention he made to have the NMS work. I believe that NMS has made some improvements in terms of the performance of Nairobi as a county. Although I'm so confident that in August, when the deed of transfer expires, we'll be having a new governor, Fwamba, who will now run the county properly as envisaged originally in the constitution.
All right, could you tell us maybe a few of the things that will resolve that conflict? Because truly, yes, we appreciate that when the government saw there was a challenge in Nairobi, they stepped in, but also there are so many people who believe that that is not the right mechanism. That was not supposed to happen ever.
It was never supposed to happen. But you know, when you want to solve a problem, you usually have several options. So that was one of the best options that we had on the table at that time. But I believe we are not going to make those mistakes again when we go to the ballot. The mistake was made at the ballot. That's why we ended up suffering those consequences of having some confusion at some point. But going forward, I believe Nairobians have learned the hard way and they'll be making the right decisions at the ballot. Those right decisions will ensure that we don't get back to where we were. And I'm seeing a very progressive regime under my leadership and a very progressive regime under the other people who will be involved in the governance of this county, because we will have competent CCs in place, chief officers in place, who will not necessarily be recruited on the basis of friendship. They'll be recruited on the basis of their capability to deliver for the citizens and the residents of Nairobi.
Thank you for that. And for the transition, let me ask this, let me be the devil's advocate here and say, maybe in case you don't step into that office come August 10th, I'm asking, what is the next governor for Nairobi supposed to look at? What are the, if you could be so generous as to share, because from your devolution, from being in the ministry, you can point out what are the shortfalls of the previous regime and even the current regime under Ms. Anne Kananu. Could you maybe point out for the next regime, what are the key areas to look out for?
Okay, first of all, for me as Fwamba, being the governor of Nairobi is not a matter of life and death. I just think that I'm best placed to provide an opportunity of leadership to guide our people towards some direction that can be helpful to them. And just in case another person happens to get to hold that position, the first priority, the most important thing is eradication of corruption. And addressing the issues of Nairobians directly, because you remember at the national level, the president one day said that we lose 2 billion shillings per day. And I'm very sure that out of those 2 billion shillings, a lot of it is, of course, Nairobi controls 60% of the GDP of the country. So a good chunk of it might be from, from Nairobi, you never know. So if we eradicate corruption, we'll be able to take care of our citizens, provide access to water, which is part of what we expected to do. Remember, SDG number 6 talks about access to clean water and sanitation. So in doing that, I remember when we were the Minister of Water and Irrigation, we sank several boreholes in partnership with the county government. So the governor will be elected, whether it's Fwamba or anybody else, is supposed to ensure that there is access to clean and usable water to the citizens. Because what has happened before, is people who are opportunists, political opportunists, political opportunists who want to appear to be popular, block access to water for the residents, and then bring water in their bowsers with their names labeled on it, so that they claim to be the ones who are bringing the solution. Yet they create the problem first, and then they pretend to create the solution. So if we get rid of that kind of leaders, those kinds of leaders who do not have integrity, then we'll automatically have Nairobi be a city and a county to admire for every Kenyan and every resident. Every resident will be happy to be in Nairobi, will be happy to interact with the leadership of Nairobi, and will be happy with the leadership of Nairobi.
We really, really hope so, as people who are suffering without water in Nairobi. Yes, we really, really hope so. Going to the comments, Daniel Ouma says, he had posted, I believe in Fwamba NC, he will change the philosophy that is not in favor of us as youths. Could you maybe address what your plans are for the youth of Nairobi? We are a very active society.
For the young people of Nairobi, I know in every family, if we have one person getting an opportunity, at least one person having an opportunity through the county of Nairobi, he'll be able to support the rest to also get other opportunities. And for that reason, every family will be progressive. So for me, I'm looking at a situation whereby we address the issue of unemployment, because it is possible. Same way we have said, if we close the loopholes of corruption, then there'll be enough resources to have our youths engaged in employment at all levels. Those ones with the university education will have their opportunities commensurate to their qualifications. People who have gone to vocational training will also have something to do within the county, because if you have a developmental agenda, the county will be active all the time. So at all levels, up to the people who will be, you've seen people right now, the NMS has been doing pavements in the city. Such kind of opportunities, right from whoever is the engineer up to the person who is doing the blocks, putting them together. Those are job opportunities. And for the young people, if that is provided, they can be able to empower themselves. If you have capital from employment, you can start a business. When you start a business, you expand and you benefit the society, not just you alone. So in a wholesome approach, that's what I'm looking at. Because once an individual is empowered, he can empower the rest, and those other people can empower others, and then we'll have a developed city.
Thank you for that. Nyams Judith says, if you get governorship, will you be working with NMS? Because I'm still wondering if Nairobi is under the county government or NMS. Then she adds another question. What is your thoughts around the Nairobi Expressway now that it's in the county he's vying in?
Under the deed of transfer, the NMS role is supposed to expire or be renewed in August, depending on the circumstances and the agreements. And again, NMS is not running the whole of Nairobi. The previous governor talked to the president and said there were certain departments that he was not able to manage properly. And those were the departments that were handed over to the NMS to be run temporarily under the conditions of the deed of transfer, which was signed between the governor and then CS Eugene Wamalwa was in charge of the Ministry of Devolution on behalf of the national government. So the NMS is not a permanent entity. It is there on the basis of that short-term intervention that the president saw right for us to have Nairobi to run. So if it will be necessary in August to review, then we'll have the renewal. If it will be necessary to cut some departments and take them back to the county government, then that will be okay. It will be based on a stakeholder engagement. It's not a one-person decision, because you also need to know what other people are thinking for you to make the right decision.
And I hope the citizens living in Nairobi will be involved, because I think we also have a say on who we want to be over us. Going still in the comment section, John Simiyu asks, how will Fwamba tackle the garbage issue? It seems like no one has a grasp on this situation.
Again now, under the same arrangement and framework of the SDGs, like I said, we are competing, we are trying to be competitive at the international level. SDG number 7 talks about renewable energy, renewable energy and clean energy.
Yeah.
That's what the whole world is embracing right now.
Yeah.
When I was in China, in Shanghai in 2018, I interacted with several people and I saw how cities are run out there. You see that there is a certain way of recycling, garbage.
Yeah.
If you recycle garbage, it can be used to add value.
Yeah.
It can be used to generate power.
Yeah.
It can be used in many ways.
Yeah.
You'll have gotten rid of the garbage and you'll have still gained something in the name of generating power. So I'm looking at us trying to benchmark with the best practices in the world and bringing them home and ensuring that we take care of garbage.
There's your answer, John Simiu. Kefa also sent in a comment. My county, Nairobi, has had a lot of challenges and service delivery is still below expectations. We don't even know who to blame between NMS and Ann Kananu. But come August, the future is luminous with Fwamba and Fwamba at the helm. That is evident from the kind of wisdom he's oozing. So he's just congratulating you and encouraging you in your bid.
Thank you very much.
That you continue. Please keep sending in your comments. We'll read them out and we'll have, in case you have a question for the candidate, please send it in and we will be asking those questions. Mine will go back to transport in Nairobi. We've seen a couple of times NMS and even the previous governor tried to control how matatus, where matatus dock, all that chaos. Mine is also in the matatu industry because there are some bits that are not well regulated and they are not well controlled. For example, the issue of compliance, having unroadworthy vehicles in the carrying people and transporting them, and we see all the issues that brings and all that chaos in the matatu industry. What do you hope to do for the transport industry in Nairobi?
And thank you very much for that question. It also I go back to what was it Jen who had mentioned about the expressway. I understand the expressway is going to do a lot of justice to the city of Nairobi because we thank the President Uhuru Kenyatta for ensuring that we have the Nairobi Expressway that has helped to decongest the city. But now getting back to the issues concerning the matatu sector and other sectors. In general, some of the challenges we have had previously is leaders who come with the know-it-all attitude. The whole purpose of the 2010 Constitution was to open the democracy and have all people involved in decision making. It is only the shoe wearer who knows where it pinches most. So you cannot make these decisions without engaging the stakeholders. Any decision will make about the congestion of the city, about where to have the terminals of the matatus, or where to have the vehicles parked or what, will be stakeholder oriented. That's why I insist on Article 10 of the Constitution that talks about the national values and principles and brings in the issue of public participation. So that is key to any leader, whether it will be myself or any other person. So in principle, we'll work with the stakeholder engagement on everything that we do, so that we weigh options on the basis of what they say and what we think as a government, as a county government and as a national government.
All right. Thank you so much for that. We're coming to the end of our show today. We thank you all for joining. I can see Jaden Nix is watching, Shiri Jano is watching, Maina Royal, Marceline Jepngetich, Salim Khan, Stella Mbithe, Mike D, Masi Mariam, Vincent Dimo. There are a lot of you who are watching. Please remember that you can still leave a comment in the comment section even after we're done being live today. We thank you, Fwamba, for being with us. Thank you for shedding a lot of light on what the governor's seat is about. Maybe you could leave the people with a parting shot.
Thank you. The only remaining thing that I request you, the residents of Nairobi, remember to vote for Fwamba and Fwamba on the Democratic Action Party under the Azimio coalition. And don't forget to vote and support for Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, because he's the one who stands for reforms and is the one who will take this country forward, right from what the President Uhuru Kenyatta has done. In terms of reforms and in terms of development record, we need a continuity, and the continuity can only be granted through the presidency of Raila Amolo Odinga. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fwamba. Thank you, viewers, for being with us today. Continue to watch us here on Siasa. We have so many good guests lined up for you. We have a lot of panelists who are coming up. So stay with us. Thank you for joining us today. My name has been Miriam Mwende. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.